Oh. Oh, I hear. Oh. Oh no. I hear. Oh. Except no. I can hear myself. Except I can hear. Okay. Myself. I hope not, because that's on a slight delay, and that's sort of odd. I hope not, because that's on a slight delay, and that's sort of odd. Hi, world. Slight delay, and that's sort of odd. Hi, world. Slight delay, and that's sort of odd. What's a loop? World. Slight delay, and that's sort of odd. What's a loop? World. Slight delay, and that's sort of odd. What's a loop? World. Slight delay, and that's sort of. I'm ready for my close-up, Colin. What's great is that I'm so much technical help. Yeah. Let's see. Ooh, we could practice some tongue twisters. The audio portion, my portion. Episode 0.1. Oh, that means I won't be able to see any of the chat messages. Oh. Ear pods under your headphones? Obviously, that is. Uh-oh. Yes, because I can hear myself laughing 2 seconds after. Okay, who's watching and can share in the chat? So what's the loop? Is it just because it's coming out of your computer screen? Or
go live, so now everyone can see us. This is the first episode of Work in Progress. This is going to be a little bit of an experiment. We've been doing a lot of different things in and around the collective, and obviously because of the coronavirus, there's a lot of reasons why we can't all be together right now, but we are definitely working on figuring out things that we can do. So with that, playing around with some new toys, hence all the audio issues and some of those things. So if you guys can't hear either Rachel or I, let us know, and we'll get it sorted out. Thank you, Chris. Yes, we got that fixed. Turns out wearing lots of pairs of headphones makes it a little complicated. So, awesome. All right, there we go. Awesome. So, so what is this thing, Rachel? What are we going to do with this? What's the plan? Oh, apparently we can't hear you. Let me see if we can. This is actually going to be the tech troubleshooting episode. Let's see if I can fix that. Yeah, we're going to actually have you write out every topic on a piece of paper and hold it up. So we got Sig, we got Mike, we got Chris, we got Zach in the chat. So let's see, I'm going to remove. I know what's going to happen. Everyone's going to hear you in just a second. There we go. How about now? Can everybody hear Rachel?
I'm just shitting with you. Yeah. Sorry.
This might be a really short episode if we can't get your audio in here.
Well, I could stand 4 feet behind you, like in the corner.
All right, go ahead and talk again. Yeah, there we go. Fitness in Reno.
Oh.
All right. Looks like we fixed it.
You can hear me?
I'm assuming Fitness in Reno is Saul.
Yes, that should be.
Perfect. I can also hear whatever you're doing with your hands.
Oh.
So yeah, as Rachel was trying to say before when she was muted,
yes.
This episode is, this show is going to be really an exploration of work, life, and everything in between. So we're going to be talking a little bit about work things. We're going to be talking a little bit about just having fun and, you know, whatever safe opportunities there are for having fun and getting out in the world with coronavirus. And with that, we're going to have guests. We're going to have some pre-recorded, some live. We're going to be live mostly so that we can have the opportunity for chat. And if you want to join us, we're thinking about some really fun topics like just like work from home crib style, little previews of what people's desks and home setups are. All the way,
all their tech stuff, tech toys,
work from home gear, all that kind of stuff. So I think right now we're on Twitch and YouTube. We might also add this to Facebook Live and some other places just because why not? You might as well. But I think the one thing that would be interesting to talk about is what we saw from the survey that we did recently.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you have that in front of you, but I do, so I can talk to it.
Oh, good. No, I don't have it in front of me. Why would I have it in front of me?
But the one thing we did see, we asked if people were interested in like physically distanced meetups, pre-recorded presentations or classes, or live virtual classes, workshops, discussions. And instead of trying to like schedule all of those, we're actually going to put them all into this format. So some of these might be more of a class, some of them might be more of just a discussion. We can have as many people on the screen as we want and kind of just explore that. So so we hear you, we want to do live things, but then we also just had our first outdoor movie night as well. So we took over the parking lot, set up the projector screen and all that kind of stuff. So I think that there's definitely more interest in that. But I'll just rattle off a couple of these and I can see what you think the theme is here, Rachel.
Okay.
So the top thing that we got was creating and sticking to a routine, tackling burnout, managing your work time while at home, self-motivation methods, money management, planning ahead. I guess in general, just planning ahead when you have a global pandemic going on, financial resiliency, the mechanics of freelancing, creative writing and journaling for your business. Does my business need to change post-coronavirus? Working with designers, and something that's very relevant to this, which is creating high-quality streaming videos, which we're working on that part. But what is the theme that you see in all of that?
Oh, I'm going to go with what is work from home during a global pandemic? What is independent working? Not having a boss over your shoulder necessarily, or someone to like guide you through the process. So trying to do it all yourself.
Right. So all of our small businesses and remote employees trying to basically survive this without, being guaranteed a paycheck, right? It's how do you make sure you keep your clients? How do you find new clients during all of this. So those are definitely things that we want to explore and talk about. I think what I was surprised by is that just the topics were definitely more around, we don't want to do a new project, we don't want to learn a new thing, we just want to have some sanity in the world like that we already have.
Right. Well, and improve what we've talked about time management a lot, like with freelancers, with remote employees, with our members. Like over the years, we usually have a topic that comes, that topic comes up at least once or twice a year as far as a talk. So improving that now is really key, because all of a sudden you have all those distractions that you didn't have. So if you're working from home and you're not here at the collective, which makes perfect sense, if you're working from home, you may have kids, you may have animals, you may have partners, neighbors, roommates, or you might be alone in a little tiny vacuum and you have nothing. And so that in itself can be really distracting. So it's like, how do I manage my time pre-COVID? And now I have to ramp it up by 100.
Yeah, like coronavirus, like a lot of things has kind of shone a light on things that needed attention, right? If we were not paying attention to them before, now we definitely need to pay attention to them. I think some co-working spaces are doing things like creating little boxes made out of plexiglass for their members to come back and work in. And I personally don't think people want to come back to a space and have to sit in a box and have too many rules around what work looks like when they could just continue working from home. And obviously, like you said, working from home might mean having to also homeschool and parents and do all those things on top of that. So I think having an episode just on parenting and schooling, there's been a lot of conversations about how parents are navigating schools being opened. They just opened yesterday here in Washoe. So
it's supposed to be Monday, but so they opened yesterday. So day 2. And not only what does that look like for parents, but what does that look like for kids? And then what are they coming home with? And then what do you do at that point? Are you going to other places? Are you not going to other places? And that's a whole, everything is just 10 times harder to do simple things that we've always done. So there you go.
So I think the big thing from that survey is that we are not going to assume that we know what we want to talk about. We want our community, we want people listening and joining us on stream to help us figure out what it is that you want to talk about now. If there's something that you want to join us for an episode, definitely reach out. I think doing interactive questions in chat will also be good. I've been exploring I've been getting into this software that we're using for streaming, and I'm going to be doing a little bit of live stream programming, but I think there's also some, workshopping on, maybe you don't want to start a new project, but you might need to just look through your current website and figuring out how you're getting clients and navigate that. We can do a lot of kind of like hot seat, kind of business brainstorming, or we can have some fun and talk about things like D&D, and just even probably play some live games on here if we wanted to. So the spectrum of things that we could do here is completely open.
Well, and our grander idea for this is that it would be larger than just our members, just our membership base, and even larger than Reno, and just sort of touching on all those topics, those hot buttons, I guess, that so many people are finding themselves working from home right now, whether it's by choice or not by choice. It's not just about people who can't come into a co-working space like ours, but that are also, they work in an office, they have a regular 9 to 5, and they're quite happy, thank you very much, except they've got to pivot from that and make it work. So that's part of the larger plan for taking over the world with our Twitch stream,
Mike
YouTube thing.
Mike thinks that we should be on TikTok as well. No TikTok.
I don't dance. I just
So for the couple people who are in chat right now, is there anything specific that you guys want to see? I know just based on some of the conversations that we've had, we have a lot of parents at home whose kids are interested in D&D. So I think having an episode where we bring on some of our Reno Collective D&D folks and just have a little roundtable on that would be good. I know that also means a lot of people are wanting to play D&D, which we can do. And I think right now games like tabletop games and role-playing games and video games and things like that. I know Animal Crossing came out like right around the time the pandemic started, and that was like a big time sink for a lot of people, where it was just like a needed respite from the pandemic and just news in general. And I think we've also been doing this for so long that people are at a point where they are a little just spent, you know, in terms of their mental energies wondering and thinking about what's going on, and always checking the recent COVID numbers for Washoe County and things like that.
Some of us obsessively check
I do.
recent COVID numbers for Washoe County.
I think it would be a little bleak, but we could just put the graph here in the Twitch stream and see the graph.
I don't think everyone.
Well, head over to the weather.
Head over to the weather.
Chris is also voting TikTok. He wants to see Rachel dance. But speaking of Chris, that's a perfect example. Chris has moved into an RV, and so having him do a tour of what his work from home looks like, which is working from an RV, I think is also good, right? Because I have a setup here that is almost identical to the setup I have at home. Some people had to take stuff from here back to home so they could set up their work from home spot. You've been setting up little areas for your kids to, like, this is where we learn versus this is where we play, which I think is almost teaching work-life balance before they even start work.
Yeah, there we go. There's a silver lining. A silver lining on, this is mommy's office. Get out. My space. The Animal Crossing came up this afternoon. So in fact, a couple people who were on the chat I know were in today's midweek check-in, but those are some of the things that we've been doing and trying to do them almost as more of a social, like sort of a social get together, rather than, all right, I have this big heavy project, or this is not working, or, you know, so that idea of like the mixture, the work and life mixture, work and play, work and life. I will get right on that learning TikTok thing.
No, I mean, even this week I had the realization that it's like all of the days are starting to look the same, all the weeks are starting to look the same, and that's not new, right? That's been happening since March, but it's made me start to think, like, what do we do to just change that a little bit? And this show is one of them, right? We've done a lot of things since March for the collective to change things, but then also, like, you know, tomorrow night, you know, is it just having a day where you plan on, well, right now it's super smoky outside, but planning those things into your week so that you know, like, oh, I'm not just going to go home, cook dinner, and do the same old thing every night, but finding a thing that you can do safely and mixing it up a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I had fun chatting today about like board games and various games to, you know, play something so that you're to bust the boredom with a board game and the various different types. And that's one of the things we've been doing at home, is getting off the electronics, off the iPads, off the TV, and doing something like as a family, but can also do just as adults. Crazy idea.
What kind of games are you guys playing?
All right. Well, we started a new one last night called Sleeping Queens, and I'm pretty sure it's a card game that was designed by an 8-year-old for 8-year-olds, because there's about 25 different rules and they seem to just sort of change randomly. But the other one I was talking about earlier today is called Otrio, Otrio, and my description was terrible. It was rambling, but look it up. Otrio, because I can't describe. It's like tic-tac-toe. I think it was Mike even that said it's like tic-tac-toe, but on multiple levels. So not everybody is playing the same tic-tac-toe pieces. There's concentric sets of concentric circles. but it's very fun.
Nice.
It's very easy to tip the board as well.
So it's like a multi-level tic-tac-toe.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, with different sizes of pieces as well. So not just like XO, it's like
Right.
big X's and little X's. And
yeah, I'm gonna write that down. There's a lot of board games, things I know. Have you ever played Settlers of Catan at home?
Nope.
That's one I think everyone would like.
What is that, like a
It's
board
like a
game with pieces?
Yeah, it's got you trade resources, so there's cards and pieces in a board. But I mean, obviously, like there's like the Glass Die in town, which is our board game bar, and unfortunately, he's not allowed to be open, but as a bar, but he's been selling board games because people need things to do, and I think it was like puzzles were like one of the top selling item on Amazon for a really long time because again, people want things to do. They're realizing they have just too much screen time lately, and if they're not playing board games or working out, then there's a lot of Netflix happening, a lot of some people have doubled down on the fitness and some people have doubled down on the drinking. So
I'm gonna count myself in that latter group. Yeah.
A little bit of both.
Latter.
Both.
Oh, no exercise.
So, I mean, given that we're both on YouTube and Twitch, I think some of these streams don't need to just be like, we're going to do this show at 5 every Wednesday, but then we're going to have other sessions that it won't always be Rachel and I. It could just be a group of us playing D&D. We could play Catan on here. We could do all sorts of stuff on stream, which is obviously what Twitch was made for, but also just, we could also just do it on a tabletop app that doesn't have to be live, and people worried about being on camera and all that kind of stuff. So this is surprising amount of setup just to get the two of us on the screen and then to be able to hear us. But the goal here is that we want this room that I'm in right now to actually have all this stuff in here so that all that stuff is ready to go and it's all set up software wise, and that this will become like a little bit of a live stream room, and we can start to also teach some of this stuff in terms of how to do really good online events, and how to get people interacting that way too. So,
well, and if there's anyone watching that is not familiar with us, with the Reno Collective, the building is a former recording studio. So these little rooms are there, they call them breakout rooms, right? So individual instruments would be played or sing, or they'd have people sing in the smaller rooms, right?
Yeah.
So they're pretty nicely set up for sound.
For some reason, we're getting a lot more interest from people who think we're still a recording studio.
Yeah.
Or who think that we're recording Whitesnake here.
Who's apparently recording in Reno again.
Yeah, they are. So and then that's just bringing people back to our door. So what a time. And I mean, I think that they're familiar with the studio since they recorded out of here, but I think taking the studio that's also through the window on the other side of this computer to make it into what we've talked about before, a video, larger podcasting or photography studio, mostly because that's going to be safer than what we've been using it for before, right? We can rent that out to a photographer who wants to do a shoot all day. We can do more of a permanent photo studio, video studio. Even if we wanted to do a live stream setup like this, because all the gear that we use is pretty portable. So Mike keeps saying that we talk about doing that. So I don't know if that's that we need to also do it, or that we keep talking about doing it. So we need to actually do some things.
Gonna do it, Mike.
We will get there. I also don't know
Thanks
how
for the encouragement, Mike.
I don't know how delayed this chat is from when I'm seeing it either. But so it's cool to see. I'll have to get this for you because I can see comments coming in for both YouTube and Twitch at the same time.
Nice. Okay.
And it looks like Mike and most people are on YouTube, and we've got Saul on Twitch.
Okay. Well, I only learned about Twitch, what, like 10 days ago?
Yeah, I mean, Twitch has been interesting. I've been watching a lot of people programming and teaching programming. There's a lot of like game developers who are building video games on Twitch, so which makes a lot of sense because most of the folks are interested in video games, and so they want to. And a lot of software people get into software thinking they're going to make video games for a living, and then you quickly learn that it's a slog. It's a lot of hard work to make a game, but I think doing something like this is not as normal on Twitch, but I think it's fun to do. So we can do it here. We can push it out to Facebook and see who else we can get to join us for next time. But the plan for these is to basically try to stay to about a half an hour, which we're going to blow through really easily today with all of our tech issues. But any closing words from you, Rachel? This is replacing our podcast.
Oh, yeah. We had fun doing the podcast. One of the things you have to know about the Rachel and Colin duo is that Colin does like 99% of all the tech background work, and I show up. So Colin needs to fit everything in. So we had a lot of fun with the podcast, but it was the editing. It was coming down to like setting it up and getting it put out and all of that was the hard part. And so it log jammed a little bit. And now we're just going to translate to this where I know we're recording, but we're not going to be editing, right?
No editing.
Okay. So totally takes all that out. And as long as I can't hear myself talk, we're golden.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm excited to do this. I am pretty sure there'll be moments that I'll regret, but why not?
And I'm excited to not have to edit it. So it's excitement all around.
Yeah.
I do need to make sure, let's see, that we actually save these before we end our show today.
Well, so one of the we're thinking about, or we're planning to do a I don't know what you'd call it. We haven't really come up with a name for it, but to have a conversation between two freelancers / small business owners. One who has been doing it for a while. So that might mean like someone who's been doing it for 15 years, might be someone who's been doing it for 5. And then having a conversation, that person having a conversation with someone who's brand new to it. And we have a couple people in mind. And I'm kind of excited because I know a couple people are interested in doing it. And it might be something that is bigger, but just to talk about a lot of things that we mentioned before, but I think it's also important, not just work, but to talk about how you do balance your life, how you set boundaries. Crazy idea, but setting boundaries when you're working for yourself is hugely important. So
I mean, even literally just knowing when you're going to stop working, because there's so much work that you could just keep going, and the days do blend together. And I think every episode, I think the next one will be a lot more, the future episodes will be a lot more topical. This is very much a random episode just to get things kicked off. But, that way you can pop in if the topic of the week is interesting to you, ask questions. The idea is to have someone who can answer those for you. So like Rachel just mentioned, I think freelancing goes all the way to how do you make freelancing make enough money to live on? Paying taxes, paying for health insurance, all that kind of fun stuff. And so I think we'll have some good questions. I think, do we know who we're going to talk to next week?
Well, we're hoping we're going to talk to Leah Chu, who's one of our members, Leah Chu Design. And she is a fledgling freelancer. She's been working and doing design for a while, but is new right before COVID, launched a fantastic new business. And she's someone we've been doing some work with here at the Collective too. In fact, the screen design, what would you call that?
The overlays that you see now.
Overlay. That is partly her work. So I know she's very interested, and we have a couple of other experts at freelancing, small business owning that are also interested. So cool. It'll be a really good conversation.
Perfect. Well, I think that'll do it for the first one. 5:31. So thanks for joining, everybody, and we'll keep dialing this in. We'll probably have a place for people to ask questions and submit topics and stuff. And keep an eye out for next episode. We'll be here every Wednesday, and then I'm going to be adding some more items to the schedule, like live streams, programming, that kind of stuff. So look out for that. Thanks, everybody.
All right. See ya. Thank you for watching. Bye.